RWs Podcast Old Guy is here, and he is back with another random daily match review. And we got more ladies today. We got Jordynne Grace versus Katie Forbes. This happens under Impact Wrestling. This match occurs on October 11th, 2019 at the Sam's Town Hotel in Las Vegas, Nevada. All right, so the backstory for this one is that Katie Forbes and Jordynne Grace had a few run-ins, and Katie Forbes acted like she was better than Jordynne Grace, and that Jordynne Grace was beneath her enough to where Katie Forbes says, "Here are my car keys. Go take care of that." And she shoos her away, shit like that. So Jordynne Grace eventually stood up for herself and challenged Katie Forbes to a match. All right, so introducing first, and I'm going to get this out of the way right off the bat because I'm pretty sure if you watch this video, you know exactly what I mean. Katie Forbes can twerk, okay? It's impossible to ignore. She's got that body that is able to get across a very sexy woman. She's got it in all the right spots, and she's got the moves, and she's not afraid to show any of it. Okay, just getting that out of the way. So when she hits the ring when she hits the ring entrance, she has these little golden guns, is what they refer to as. And when she pulls the trigger, they send out dollar bills. So she's making it rain while she twerks her way to the ring. And after she gets to the ring, we get her opponent, Jordynne Grace. And so Jordynne Grace is 5'1", and she has spent some time in the gym, and you can tell she is thick. She's Louise. She can squash me like a great brother. She is all business as she makes her way to the ring. She's acknowledging the crowd, but at the same time, she's throwing shade to Katie Forbes. Okay. All right, so in the ring, Katie Forbes is ready. Jordynne Grace is ready. The crowd is ready. The ref says ring the bell, and here we go. So a lockup leads to a side headlock by Forbes. Forbes follows up with a side headlock takedown to Grace. Jordynne Grace responds with a head scissors to Forbes. And while still in the head scissors, Katie Forbes is able to do a handstand and twerks her booty right in front of Jordynne Grace's face. Katie Forbes is able to transition out of the head scissors via the handstand and back into the side headlock on Grace. Or she goes back into the side headlock and applies it to Jordynne Grace. Jordynne Grace makes her way back to her feet and applies an arm bar to Katie Forbes. Katie Forbes reverses that into a wrist lock. Jordynne Grace uses the ropes to flip out of the wrist lock, and she puts an arm wringer on Forbes and then follows up with a snapmare to Forbes. Grace follows up with a crucifix roll-up on Katie Forbes for a 2 count, and then we have a standoff. Forbes is now saying she's pulling my hair, she's doing all the heel excuses, etc., where Jordynne Grace is just waiting for the next lockup, which we get to. And this lockup leads to a side headlock by Grace. Forbes pushes Grace off the ropes. Grace shoulder tackles Forbes. Grace runs the ropes. Forbes ducks down. Grace cartwheels over Forbes and attempts a snapmare, but Forbes blocks the snapmare and pushes Grace off the ropes. Grace holds onto the ropes, and as Katie Forbes charges, Grace elbows Katie Forbes right in the face. A back elbow at that. Grace walks over to a corner, and as Katie Forbes decides to run at Grace and eats a boot to her face. Grace follows up by hopping up the breath rope and hitting Forbes with a missile drop kick, and Katie Forbes bumps to the outside. On the floor, Forbes is complaining that Grace kicked her in her teeth and pulled her hair, and y'all saw that, right? Just doing a typical heel shtick. Grace goes for a tope suicida, and Forbes is able to block it with an elbow. Back in the ring, Forbes punches Grace into a corner. Forbes follows up with a high leg choke a la Stacy Keibler to Jordynne Grace. Forbes slams Grace's head into another corner and then follows up with another high leg choke to Grace. Forbes puts a shoulder into Grace's gut a few times in the corner. Forbes starts to feel pretty good about herself right here. She's posing for the crowd and talking trash while Grace sells in the corner. And then Forbes backs up her trash talk with a cartwheel back elbow combo to Grace in the corner. Eat your heart out, China. Forbes takes a second to shake that booty, and obviously no complaints here, but Grace is in the corner. You better stay on her. But still, no complaints. Forbes attempts some stink face-like thing to Grace in the corner, But Grace is having none of that as she grabs Forbes by her tights and pushes Forbes to the middle of the ring. And that grabbing of the tights would eventually turn into a wedgie, and Forbes would sell it like it hurts or something. After applying the wedgie of doom for a hot second, Grace throws Forbes into the ring post shoulder first. Grace hits Forbes with a double knees in the corner, followed up by a running back elbow to Forbes in the corner, and then Forbes slumps down, and then Forbes is down by the. Forbes falls down by the corner. Really good spot there by Grace. She just showed off a bunch of athleticism, and she hit those moves perfectly. Forbes sold him like a boss. Good stuff here. Not bad. Honestly, I didn't know what to expect, but I didn't say I didn't think things were going to suck. But goddamn, that was a good little spot there. And Grace can move. For someone who's 5'1", as built as she is, she has some agility. So good stuff here. Grace runs to the corner. So Katie Forbes is down by the corner. Grace runs to that corner and delivers a beautifully executed Vader bomb. Grace with the leg hook. We get a 1, 2. Nope. Forbes gets a shoulder up at 2. But Katie Forbes is in trouble. She's not looking too hot right now. Grace pushes Forbes into a corner and places her on Brett's rope and then slaps Katie Forbes right in the face. Still on Brett's rope, Forbes fights back with some punches and kicks to Grace, followed by a beautiful tornado DDT from Brett's rope. We get a cover from Forbes. We get a 1, a 2, but nope. Grace kicks out at 2. Forbes picks up Grace in a fireman's carry and does a squat. But as she comes back up, Grace escapes the fireman's carry and hits an elbow strike to Grace. Hits an elbow strike to Forbes. Forbes tries to kick Grace, but Grace catches the kick, spins Forbes around, and punches Forbes right in the mouth. Grace picks up Forbes and destroys Forbes with the Grace driver, and at 5 minutes, 33 seconds, we get the 1, 2, and the 3. Jordynne Grace wins this grudge match over Katie Forbes. Forbes can twerk away back to the entrance ring, all the way back to the dressing room for all Grace cares. Grace gets her hand raised as we cut to black. Okay, so this match was solid. Both of these women have distinct personalities. Katie Forbes has that self-absorbed, vain kind of character. Lots of charisma, but self-absorbed nonetheless. Which is the opposite of Jordynne Grace, who has a business-like approach to this match. And Grace looks at Forbes as someone who is disrespectful, rude, and deserves to get their ass kicked. So that's why she wanted this match. Forbes may think she's better than Grace, but Grace wants to get in the ring and prove that I can whoop your ass in a wrestling match. So, and this helped establish the babyface heel dynamic. Katie Forbes was the heel, but it's hard to boo a woman who can do the things that she does with her body, like twerking and how she looks overall. And boo her, but she does it. But she did a really good job of looking like she's just showing off, as opposed to like saying, "I just work hard in the gym" or whatever. No. She said, "No, I'm naturally this good looking, and I'm gonna let y'all know it." Whereas Grace, as the babyface, is like, you know what? I don't care how good you look. I'm gonna whoop your ass in this match, and there's nothing your freaking twerking or your nice body can do about it. So nice dynamic right there. And I will say this, though. Katie Forbes is a good example of that heel who not only has some charisma and the ability to piss you off and all that, but she can work. And Katie Forbes will let you know that she can hold her own in the ring. And she'll show it. She'll go, "Yeah, I look good," but then she'll deliver a tornado DDT to you, right? That's what I'm trying to say. And besides, if Katie Forbes couldn't work as well as she did, this match would have been absolutely horrible. Okay. So she and Grace, Forbes and Grace, put together a solid, if unspectacular match. Grace carried the wrestling portion for the most part. She has a unique style of offense for someone who's that short but big. She's still able to pull off some cartwheels. She attempted a tope, and that really nice double knees back elbow combo to Katie Forbes in the corner was really cool. And she did it she did it in rapid fire succession too. Katie Forbes also had her moments. She had that tornado DDT and that cartwheel elbow combo. That was really cool. So both these women held up their own in the ring. But Katie Forbes' main contribution wasn't necessarily the wrestling because like she did mostly like punch kicky stuff besides the few spots that I mentioned. Her main contribution was her heel work. She made excuses for how well Grace was doing, i.e. she was pulling her hair. Or she kicked out because the referee was counting too slow or whatever it was. But as the story would play out in this match, Katie Forbes' reliance on her own self-absorbance led to her demise. She was twerking one too many times and not staying on her opponent, and Grace made her pay. All right. So the selling was okay. Both women made their opponents look good. Forbes sold that dropkick to the floor as if she just got hit by a hammer, as she was saying that she lost, like one of her teeth got broke or something. And even though Jordynne Grace didn't have to sell as much because she was on the offensive for most of the match, when necessary, she did. She sold that tornado DDT, and she sold the chokes really well. So kudos to both women for selling. But to be honest, though, honestly, this match was boring. I'm kind of glad it went 5 minutes with the way it was structured, but there just wasn't any spectacular high spots. I guess the highest spot was that tornado DDT, but not really. That was the only one. There weren't any memorable sequences or moments, to be honest with you. I was wondering if this match was like it was on the match right before the main event, so it's very possible this was just a let me up match before the main event. But I have to say though, it's kind of a shame because like I'm thinking that maybe with about 4 to 5 more minutes tops, this may have been a really, really good match because then you could have really told a story in the ring. You could have seen more of Forbes trying to embarrass Grace and then Grace coming back and then hitting the Grace driver at the end. I think that would have been really cool. Maybe these two weren't in a high-profile story at the time as far among with the whole company or the company as a whole. But the way this was booked, it was kind of boring. Because the only thing I'm going to take away from this match is Katie Forbes. I'm a warm-blooded male, I'll admit. I can't ignore how great she looks. She knows how to move her booty around, and she looks great from top to bottom. And that's going to be the only thing I take away from this match, to be honest with you, because it was just so uneventful. No disrespect to Jordynne Grace. Next time a Jordynne Grace match pops up anywhere I watch Impact, I'm going to watch it because she knows how to work. But unfortunately for this match itself, the only thing I'm going to remember is Katie Forbes shaking her booty and all that stuff. But that's what Katie Forbes does. That's what got her to where she is. And maybe one day, Katie Forbes can tone down some of that. But it may not happen. But that might be her ticket just to keep a profile a higher profile in wrestling wherever she ends up. Yeah, so the match was uneventful, although solid. I rated the match a 5. It was, like I said, it was just there. It was just there to let me up spot, I think, before the main event. The story was okay. It was a bit of one, but most of it was told out of the ring. And the ring work was just solid, but like I said, not spectacular. But yeah, so the match was boring, and Katie Forbes' twerking can only do so much for a match. So, all right, so I'm going to end this review right here. And I'm going to come back again at you tomorrow with another random ass daily match review. Have a good one.